This villain must be stopped. Now that you're on the dark side of YouTube, you most definitely want to stay and hear what's about to be said. There are many different types of villains in anime, but we're here discussing one villain. Don't get it twisted, there are others on the same level as this nigga, but my god, when I tell you, you wouldn't wish this on your worst enemy. The crackhead that robbed you the other day, or even that one kid that tapped your balls to a near enough death experience. The man Griffiths from Berserk. I know, before anyone says anything, that anime is purely story, and that CGI shit they had going on is like mixing that cannabis with crack, and I for one can tell you that shit ain't bussin'. Back to Griffiths, aka the leader of the band of the Falcons. Yo, this guy was poor. I ain't talking about I couldn't get my favorite toy for Christmas looking ass. This is sleeping in a cold ass alleyway, can't afford a slice of bread, all of that real life shit. Until he met this gypsy fortune teller who randomly gave him this weird ass necklace he called the Behelit. Shit was not icy. The only reason this nigga rocked it was because the man told him whoever wears it can become king of the world. Fast forward and now he's on a mission to create in his group, which will entail take over the kingdom. This guy was so broke, remember, so he had to make that money, being a mercenary. Also he might be gay because he slept with random niggas who had money. Only reason to bring this up is from my point of view, it's clear his goal means everything to him. Not that he necessarily likes men. So after all that royal decree of having his back blown out by royalty and a multitude of rich dudes, he finally gets his group and starts killing faction after faction, becoming more and more renowned in the Berserk universe. And not for having his back blown out, but for gaining power. He meets the main character Guts later on, and these niggas get to squaring up. They start fighting and the winner chooses what happens to the other, after Guts gets poked. And no, I don't mean with Griffiths' dick. He declares his loyalty to Griffiths. These two form a bond so strong it reaches the heights of Gon and Killer, Ash and Pikachu, Goku and Krillin. You get the point, bromance at its finest. Now don't jump to conclusions, because the way these two were looking at each other, something weird was definitely happening behind the scenes. After all that bonding and the group finally getting comfortable with Guts' new arrival, Griffiths gets sniped with a poisonous arrow, but he luckily survived and already know who did it. He sends Guts in to clap the fool who did it like he's part of the Ambu Black Ops. When Guts stabs that mofo, he hides around the corner because he can hear a guard. Nigga hops out on demon timing and gets devious with that swordplay. Well, only to realize it ain't no guard, but it's a motherfucking pubescent boy who is 13 years out of his mum's vagina. Shit hit a nerve in him and bro weren't feeling Griffiths' orders. He even told Griffiths about the kid, but the nigga brushes him off. As the story gets closer to his world domination, Guts tries to leave the group, so he challenges your boy to a fight like they did 3 years back. This time around, Guts bodies this guy and splits his blade into two, getting him out of the group. Griffiths gets so mad he gets in the room with the king's daughter and starts clapping her cheeks. By the way, sex before marriage ain't tolerated in the royal family of the kingdom he's in. Whilst this nigga's in there scoring points like Michael Jordan, this NPC hears from outside, and I kid you not, Griffiths got grabbed up, flung into the torture room, got molested, deprived of food, sleep, to even skinning and chopping parts off of him by this ugly ass face. Looks like it got created on a custom character menu ass troll. Two of the most ugly creatures had a baby looking ass. Yo, who had it worse, Griffiths or Theon Greyjoy from the Game of Thrones? After Guts and the group finally saved bro, it's been about 2 years and he's looking a bit unhealthy to say the least, and he ain't wearing his chain no more. Last but not least, they get far away and bro in the back's reminiscing about his old days, till he heard a voice and so he acted on it and took control of the carriage. Nigga ends up finding that creepy ass necklace in a lake somewhere not far off, and then the group finds him only to notice the craziest shit going on. The entire atmosphere has changed and these creatures are spawning out of the ground like Black Ops 2 zombies. Everyone's now in a different dimension, but all of this was no coincidence. They were all in a place where the supreme beings come down every 216 years to have a nocturnal festival. In basic terms, the guardian angels for the hand of God were allowing Griffiths to become one of them. Everyone else is just dead weight if he chooses to sacrifice them. All of the effort and heartfelt moments he had with the band of the Falcons, his bond with Guts, everyone he loved them basically his entire life, but he does it anyway and sacrifices it all. He blames them for getting in the way of his goal. Near enough, everyone is in disbelief. One dude thought he was going to get cheeks down there when he saw a naked woman, only to get his head bitten off whilst he was getting some. Everyone got packed, no hesitation, leaving two people left, Guts and this girl called Casca, a girl that used to be in love with Griffiths but is now in a relationship with Guts. They were hitting it off episodes back. Anyways, this man Griffiths has now transformed into a godly being. He tried to copy Batman's drip low key. Regardless, him and Guts have a stare off, only for him to raise his hand and reveal a naked woman being held against her will by these strings. Guts' shock will forever be remembered for generations. He is witnessing Casca, the woman he loves, being held by Griffiths, who is now in his god form. What happens next is fucked up beyond belief. People around the world are scarred for life after witnessing this. The man begins to spread her legs unconsensually. Guts was not having it, but gets his arm bitten and it's stuck in the monster's mouth. Griffiths starts tonguing Casca down and the poor guy Guts is being forced to watch. You know that blade he carries? Well, he started going at his arm over and over and over again until it tears apart like string cheese, only to get grabbed again and to watch his girl get raped. Over and over and over and over again. At this point, why even continue the video? Morphos is disgusting and betrayed all his people. Now if that didn't convince you, maybe another video will. Like, comment and subscribe.